137 meters long, 23 meters wide, 3 full stories high. Imagine a structure so massive, built thousands of years ago, by a man with no machines, no blueprints, no engineers, only faith, wisdom, and sheer determination. Imagine a world before modern tools, before cranes, before steel, where survival itself was a daily challenge. And yet, Noah, a man called by God, was commanded to build the largest vessel humanity had ever seen. This isn't a story of fantasy. It's a tale of instruction, obedience, and ingenuity. Genesis 6:14-16 tells us God gave Noah precise dimensions: 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, 30 cubits high, made of cypress wood, sealed with pitch, inside and out. Every detail was deliberate. But what does this mean in reality? How could a man, thousands of years ago, turn a divine command into a physical vessel, capable of surviving a catastrophic flood? The first challenge was not the construction itself, but the land. Genesis 2-6 mentions a mist rising from the earth, a natural phenomenon that kept the soil perpetually moist. Noah needed flat, firm ground, sufficient for a structure longer than a football field, and wide enough to hold 3 floors. He would have to clear the land, remove rocks, uproot trees, and compact the soil by hand. There were no bulldozers, no trucks, no mechanical tools. Every meter of land had to be surveyed with his eyes, every stone removed with simple tools, each measurement judged by intuition, skill, and faith. Neighbors laughed, questioned, mocked, but Noah was not motivated by human applause. He built by divine instruction. Then came the forests. Cypress trees, massive and sturdy, ideal for building a vessel, had to be felled using rudimentary tools. Hundreds, perhaps thousands, of these enormous trees would be needed. Imagine the labor required, the coordination, and the patience. Moving each trunk, sometimes tens of meters in length and weighing tons, required ingenuity. Wooden rollers were placed under the logs, ropes tied, and the weight slowly shifted across the ground. Step by step, trunk by trunk, Noah and his sons created the skeleton of the ark. Genesis 6:16 mentions 3 decks and compartments. These were not mere architectural details. They were critical for balance and survival. Heavy animals had to be placed on the lower deck to maintain stability, medium animals on the middle deck, and smaller creatures, birds, and reptiles on the upper deck, ensuring ventilation and preventing chaos. This arrangement reflects a remarkable understanding of practical engineering. Long before such knowledge was formally documented, raising the keel, the backbone of the vessel, was another feat. The central beam could not be sourced from a single tree. It had to be joined from multiple massive trunks, meticulously fitted with wooden joints, secured with pegs and stakes. Every joint was a potential point of failure, every misalignment a risk to the entire structure. Noah and his sons had to rely on precise measurements, angles, and experience to ensure the hull would remain straight and stable. Once the keel was in place, the ribs of the ark were raised, arched beams that gave the hull its shape. These beams were lifted with ropes, levers, and sheer human strength. Stones likely acted as plumb lines, guiding verticality, ensuring balance and symmetry. Each rib, each joint, each layer of cypress was a combination of human ingenuity and obedience to divine instruction. Sealing the ark was another monumental task. Pitch, derived from natural resin, had to be boiled, thickened, and applied to every surface, inside and out. This waterproofing was critical. A single leak could doom all life within. Noah's attention to detail, his discipline, and understanding of natural materials ensured the ark could withstand the greatest flood ever experienced. And then came the animals, not captured, not driven, but arriving in pairs, following instincts or, as the narrative implies, divine orchestration. Predators and prey coexisted. Birds perched calmly, reptiles moved to their compartments, and Noah guided the process, feeding, cleaning, and organizing over a year. Outside, the world was unrecognizable. Genesis 7:11-24 details the flood, underground waters bursting forth, torrential rains, mountains submerged, cities erased, and entire landscapes transformed. The sound was deafening, the sight terrifying. Waves crashed against the hull, winds battered the vessel. Yet the ark, built with faith, planning, and precision, remained afloat. Noah's understanding of weight distribution, balance, and structural integrity was tested. Each movement of the ark required monitoring. Levers, ropes, and pegs had to withstand immense pressure. Creaking sounds were constant reminders of the massive forces at play. Months passed. Noah and his family faced not only physical challenges but psychological ones. The confined space, responsibility for countless lives, and uncertainty of the world outside demanded endurance, faith, and leadership. Inside, animals settled into routines. Predators instinctively refrained from attacking prey, illustrating either divine intervention or remarkable instinctual behavior. Birds perched safely. Insects and reptiles found niches, and humans maintained order. When the rain ceased after 40 days, the waters had not yet receded. Genesis 7:24 explains the waters prevailed for 150 days. The Ark floated above mountains, isolated, yet entirely dependent on its design and Noah's vigilance. Supplies dwindled, and careful rationing became essential. Each day required decisions: how to allocate food, when to clean, how to maintain structural integrity. The Ark was not a passive vessel. It demanded constant attention. Finally, Genesis 8:1 marks a turning point. God remembered Noah. Waters began to recede. The Ark rested on the mountains of Ararat. Noah sent out a raven, which flew endlessly, returning to indicate the earth was still covered. Then a dove, returning at first empty, and later with an olive leaf, signaling life's resurgence. Imagine the relief, the awe, and the silent prayers as Noah and his family stepped onto dry ground for the first time in over a year. The earth smelled fresh, the air was pure, and the horizon, once filled with endless water, now showed promise. Noah immediately erected an altar, offering sacrifices to God. The covenant that followed, symbolized by the rainbow, promised that no flood would ever destroy all life again. This act was not only religious but symbolic. Obedience rewarded, life preserved, and hope renewed. Humanity had a fresh start. From Noah's son Shem, Ham, and Japheth nations arose, cultures formed, and history began anew. But the Ark itself remained a subject of fascination, curiosity, and debate. For centuries, explorers, theologians, and scientists have searched for its remains on Mount Ararat and elsewhere. Archaeological expeditions have reported anomalies, wooden structures, and sedimentary formations that some suggest could be remnants of the Ark. However, concrete evidence remains elusive, keeping the story alive in both faith and scientific inquiry. Could a vessel of such size, constructed with ancient tools, truly survive a global flood? Engineering studies indicate that the dimensions given in Genesis would allow for a surprisingly stable and seaworthy structure. If built with precision and proper joinery, weight distribution, hull shape, and waterproofing with bitumen could have allowed the Ark to float safely, though moving massive trees. Organizing animals and maintaining life for over a year would have required extraordinary human effort. The story of Noah's Ark, therefore, is a complex blend of faith, history, and plausible ancient engineering. It challenges modern perspectives, asking us to imagine life in a pre-flood world, the ingenuity required, and the faith that guided one man and his family to preserve life. The Ark's narrative is not just about surviving a flood, but about vision, preparation, and resilience. Every beam, every joint, every compartment reflects a combination of divine instruction and human problem-solving. Today, the Ark continues to inspire art, literature, theology, and scientific debate. It serves as a reminder that preparation, planning, and obedience to higher purpose can overcome even the most unimaginable challenges. And while we may never uncover physical proof of the Ark itself, the lessons remain timeless. Foresight, discipline, faith, and meticulous action can ensure survival and continuity. The Ark stands as a testament to the human spirit guided by faith. It is a story that transcends generations, cultures, and belief systems. From a single divine command, through decades of labor, strategy, and perseverance, life was preserved. The rainbow reminds us of covenant, hope, and renewal. Noah's Ark remains one of history's greatest mysteries and one of faith's most enduring symbols. From divine instruction to human execution, from devastation to renewal, it is a narrative that continues to captivate and inspire. The waters have receded, the animals dispersed, and humanity began again. But the Ark remains a timeless lesson. With vision, preparation, and faith, even the impossible becomes achievable. And now, I want to ask you, what do you think? Could Noah's Ark have actually existed, or is it purely symbolic? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story amazed you, hit the like button, comment your opinion, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into history, mysteries, and fascinating stories that bridge faith, science, and human ingenuity.